Alright, let's continue with the fourth allophonic variation, and this one has a funny name. It's called spirentization. Yes, correct. Spirentization. And it's a Spanish feature, okay? And it has to do with the fact that Spanish has soft sounds, okay? With three specific sounds, b, d, and g, which are all stop sounds and all voice stop sounds, okay? So, notice that it says in Spanish, b, d, and g become fricative mostly in intervocalic position. This is a phonetic feature. Phonetic meaning that we only include that in phonetic transcriptions, okay? So, in theory, the proper pronunciation of this word would be bobo. But we say bobo, bobo. Cada, but we pronounce cada, cada. And gato, but we pronounce gato, gato. So these three sounds are super soft, and the phenomenon that happens in all Spanish speakers is called spirentization. Next phenomenon is dentalization. This is also a Spanish feature. Okay, it says in Spanish consonants with the combination NT, ND, LT, or LD get dentalization. And this is a phonetic feature. So canto becomes canto, and notice the dental diacritics. Ande becomes ande like this, and the dental diacritics are there. Salta is like this, salta. Okay, so we have these combinations and we need to add the dental diacritics there. Okay, and it also only occurs in phonetic transcriptions. Then we have aspiration, and we know how to use aspiration. Yes, we covered that last year in phonetics. Okay, so an example of aspiration would be, let me see, let me write it here, but you know it already. I'm so happy you know this. Pen, like this, but it's pronounced oops. Where is the nasal thingy? There. Pen. Okay, so aspiration occurs at the beginning of the syllable, before a stressed vowel, only with P, T, and K. Yes. And only in phonetic transcriptions. That's called aspiration. Then we have unreleasing. Remember unreleasing? Unreleased sounds. They occur only at the end of the word in free variation. Free variation means it's optional. You can choose to pronounce it or not. In English, yes. And the example would be rap, for example. Then we have a new one, which is called bilabial assimilation. Okay? Bilabial assimilation. It says, in Spanish, voice alveolar nasal consonants become bilabial before bilabial stops. Write an example. And notice that in school we studied this. The teacher would always say, escriban siempre M antes de P o B. That's a grammatical rule in Spanish, and it happens the same. For example, let me show you. Un beso. Okay. How is it that we pronounce un beso? We say un beso. Like this. Another one. Un pan. What do we pronounce it? Un pan. Un pan. And some people say un pan with un pan. Un beso, un pan. Okay. Let's write the diacritic here. The stress mark. Let me see. Stress here. Un beso and un pan. notice that here the B is strong. Why is it strong and not spirantized? Because of the consonant. The previous consonant is a nasal consonant. Nasal consonants make the B, the G, and the D strong. Then we have palatalization, and this is the last one. Palatalization. You also know this feature, but you didn't know the name of it. So now you know the technical name. It says in English, alveolar stop consonants become palatal before high back vowels. And this is both a phonemic and a phonetic feature. Okay? It means that it says alveolar stop consonants. Which are the alveolar stop consonants? This one and this one. Those are the two alveolar stop consonants. And they become palatal before high back vowels. Which are the high back vowels? This one and this one. These two are high back vowels. So, T-U combination, the T becomes palatal. Okay. Right, so we have, instead of C2-ation, we have C2-ation. And D plus U turns into J, as in education. Okay. So what do we call that? Palatalization. That's the phenomenon that occurs. Yes. And that has to do with allophonic variations. We have finished this lesson. And your task from now on would be to transcribe not just words, but phrases and sentences. So, practice. It's a matter of practice. I'll do some for you, with you, and then you will do that on your own so that you can practice. That add is odd. That add is odd. That's the sentence. Now we're going to do the phonetic transcriptions. How would a native speaker pronounce that? That add is odd. Probably they will say, that add is odd. That add is odd. That add is odd. That add is odd. Okay. So let's say two groups. That add is odd. Like this. Okay. That add. So the T becomes what? Yes, you're right. A flap. That add is odd. Two groups. That add is odd. Okay. Now we need to stress both groups. Where do you think I should write the stress? That add. That add. In the first, second part. That or add. That add. Yes, in the first part. You're right. So let me write the stress mark there. What about the second group? Is odd. Is odd. Is it in is or in odd? Yes, you're right. It's in odd. That add is odd. That is. And that's how you do the phonetic transcription. Super easy. Okay. That's the first one. Okay. That add is odd. Let me do the second one. To show you. I'm sure you want me to show you. So I will. No problem. The cap. The cup. The, that would be a schwa. It's an article. It's not very relevant, so schwa. The cop had an interesting. I say interesting. Many people say interesting. Yes, 4 syllables. I will write interesting. Interesting cap. Like this. The cop had an interesting cap. And the idea is to have a minimal pair there. Cop, cap. In the first one, add, odd. Like this. So that we notice the difference, right? Now I'm going to write the phonetic transcription. How would I say? The cop had an interesting cap. The cop, one group, had an interesting cap. Like 3 groups maybe? Or interesting cap, 1 group. The cop had an interesting cap. Okay, 2 groups. So this together, the cop aspirated, the cop, and then had an interesting cap. The D turns into a hadn't flap. What happens with the an? It's too much. It becomes reduced to a schwa. Hadn't. And because there is a nasal thingy there, we write it nasal. The cop had an interesting. What happens with the R? We use the retroflex R, which is here. Interesting nasal cap. Aspirate. Unreleased, maybe? Unreleased. Okay. The cop had an interesting cat. The cop had an interesting cat. The cop, stress mark in the first group, cop. Stress mark in the second group, had an interesting cat. Interesting cat. Interesting cat. Stress mark, interesting cat. And that would be it. Okay. Yeah. Very good. What do you think? Can you do the others? Practice. Practice a lot. I can show you how to play the piano, but you will never play the piano unless you practice. So do your transcriptions. Okay? See you soon. Goodbye.